So in the last couple of months, I've built around 3 multi-six-figure coaching businesses, and in this video, I just want to break down pretty much every single thing I've learned from building those businesses, so that if you're a coach, consultant watching this right now, you get some steps that you can use right now to obviously get close to that and build multi-six-figure businesses and even 7-figure businesses as well too. So before I do that, let's just show you the proofs so that you know that I've actually done this. Here's Hassan Chatter. He runs 68. I don't even know how to say the numbers, but it's like 600k a year coaching business. I actually broke down exactly what his funnel and his actual strategy is over there, and the funnel that made him like 150k in like 90 days in like a different video. So if you want to check that out, you can go check that out over there. And there's also another one. So if I go back here, Raheem, 480k a year coaching business. Broke it down as well too. So like he was booking really not that many calls before for his business. He has just about 4,000 followers. Came in, pretty much overhauled his systems, built out his whole process. Big ones was 40k cash, which is really cool. He's done that consistently. And Nero as well too, so 380k a year coaching business. And this is one of the screenshots that we did from them. And his business is like really doing well because he's got like really crazy offer. I also break down a different video I did for him on how he basically collected like 5,000 pounds but just spent like $50. So yeah, those videos are live. You can go watch them. Also attach the testimonials as well too. You can go watch those as well if you're curious about that, or if you're curious about each one in specific. But the point of this video is just to kind of walk you guys through exactly the things I learned, the mistakes, pitfalls, and most importantly, give you lessons with action steps that you can use to obviously grow your coaching business. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I just want to get into everything I learned, bite-sized lessons with action steps so you can use right now to get close to those levels as well too. So the first thing is your product is always going to outbe your marketing if it's really good. So what I realized before was I used to always think that it's just all marketing, because at the end of it, it is kind of true. Like there's some people that you probably know, maybe you have some competitors that probably have a worse product than you. They probably have less deliverables, less value, but they still end up selling more. And that's because the marketing is always good. The marketing is always going to be getting that initial burst of attention, getting that initial cash flow. But your longevity of your coaching business comes from what you're actually selling. Because what you realize is a lot of these guys that are selling kind of fluff, in the next year or 2 years, they basically just disappear because everything starts to compound on top of them. And then they realize that, hey, we actually can't, for example, we can't keep selling this thing that's not actually producing people results. So what ends up happening is that they leave. Even though they make a ton of money in that period, they still leave. And I don't know if it's worth it to make 100k and then not be able to sell anything for the next 2 years, or make 500k or a mil on 2 years and then not be able to sell anything moving forward. For me, I don't think that actually makes any sense. It's longevity is just super important, but most people can't see past that. So what they do is they think marketing is what they need to be going crazy on, which is true. You need to, because that's what's going to help you get the cash, but you should put a lot of emphasis in having an actually really good product, because a really good product is what's going to propel you and what's going to make you stay for longer and make people give you tons of referrals, make people give you actually actually give you good reviews that you can use for case studies, for better marketing, and all those types of things. So action steps for your product right now, if you really want to improve it, it just goes over there, is if you have clients, ask them this: why did they buy in the first place? What did you say to them? What did you show them that made them buy in the first place? For example, what I would recommend is you go to them and you're like, hey, you've been with us for a couple of months, how are you finding it right now? They'll tell you, yeah, and they'll be just trying to bring it back. Why exactly did you kind of buy from me? And they're going to give you a couple of things. They might say something oh, you're being super genuine, which is one that we got from one of our clients, Hassan specifically. Some might be, you're authentic. Some might be oh, you have the lifestyle that I want. And those are the things, if you like those clients, number one, those are the things that you need to be doing more of, because that's going to attract more people like them. And number two, you would know that it's validating what you're currently doing. So that means people out there, if that type of person, exists, and they're not just a super specific niche person, if there's lots of people like them out there, you're going to be able to attract and work with them in the first place. So That's that part. And then what do they like about the product service? Like, what are the specific things that they like? So you can use that for marketing, or you can even improve that. What can be improved? What would you do if you ran my own coaching business? So you can look at it from a prospect lens. Like, what would they do to improve it? Like, would they, like, you know, have more coaching calls? Would they have specific modules on specific things? Would they have more accountability and support? All of these things, you're going to end up having a whole list of things that people are giving you. You should probably write this down when you're speaking to them or asking them questions. And it's going to give you a ton of action points that you can do right now that's actually going to improve your product. You might not see the benefits of it straight away, but in the long run, it's going to really, really like benefit you essentially. So that's kind of like what I would recommend for people that are trying to like do this. But yeah, just remember, product is everything, guys. Like, even though sometimes it sucks to see the guy that's like, you know, or the girl that's super flashy with the marketing, super cool with it, super crazy lifestyle, you don't have that yet, but you have a better product, and you're like, damn, this person is just selling more than me, and I'm doing better than them. Like, I have a better product than them. Like, their clients probably even came from them, and they came to me and they said, I have a better product that they do. Like, I've seen that all the time, and it's annoying. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that you're doing the right thing by having a good product, because eventually they're not going to stick around for too long. However, you still need to get your marketing up, and you still need to make sure that your content is actually pretty good. So I'm going to show you how I do that for my clients and how I get their marketing up and also help them improve their product a little bit more later. But that's kind of like the first action step that I would like recommend for you guys. So get a ton of data of this and improve it. And if you want to see where I get a lot of my data, I actually have examples of good offers in the high ticket protocol. It's only $200 a week, teaches you pretty much everything about building a coaching business, and it pretty much helps you get your next 25K in new revenue. If you're a coach, consultant, or whoever, if you're interested in that, you can just DM me on Instagram. But anyways, I'll just get back into the video, but there's some examples of some good offers there that you can use to replicate. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And number two, the biggest lesson that I learned as well for running these coaching businesses is that there is an abundance of traffic and leads out there. So what I realized is everyone always says that they have the lead problem. Like, everyone's like, oh, there's not enough calls, we're not booking enough like meetings, there's not enough like things. Like, everyone just like tries to make issues of traffic, like traffic, calls, lead flow, acquisition. But I've honestly found booking calls is probably one of like the easiest things to solve. It's actually one of like the easiest problems. I mean, it might not look like it from the outskirts, but from my lens, obviously, from like, you know, scaling coaching businesses, working with these clients, like, you know, run this agency where I like literally do like done for you work, being in the trenches for these guys, managing sets, doing a bunch of stuff. It's actually pretty easy because we've got the process like dialed in. So it's like, if calls is what you want, like, I've got you. Like, I've got loads of trainings on YouTube on how I get calls specifically. But what I found to be like the easiest things to solve for coaches is just the calls. And we don't get clients that complain about lead flow all the time, because when they do initially come in, most of the time it is lead flow. Everyone's like, yeah, we need more calls, And then what ends up happening is they get calls and they're like, damn, how can we get high show up rates? How can we make sure these leads are pre-sold? Like, how can we like scale show up rate from like 65 to like 85? How can we make sure these leads are more pre-sold? Like, how can we make it easier? How can we convert more of these calls to cash? How can we spend less time on sales calls? Like, I've had that happen. Literally, someone come in, say, I need more calls. We build the whole process, build everything, and they're like, hey, there's too much calls, I want to spend less time on the sales calls, can I get someone else to do it for me? And what ends up happening is that, like, you know, you solve these higher level problems essentially, because you need to realize, because if you keep putting the mental note of like it's just calls and traffic, you're going to make it much more harder to actually generate those calls in the first place. Because all you're doing, you literally just break it down to like you're trying to convince someone to just speak to you. That's not that difficult. Like, if you really try, you can get someone to like speak to you for like 30 minutes essentially. It's not that difficult. And these are high-level problems because most people don't get to this point, like I said, because they place having calls or like having that like people coming in as like super high. It's like a pedestal. It's like, oh, I have to get to this. I need to get to my calls. I just need to get to 15 calls a week, and I'll be get just 15 calls. And like, when you do that, you place your calls on a pedestal store and you don't actually get it. Because guys, you can literally buy traffic, you can buy impressions. Like, you can go to Facebook right now and you can say, hey, here's this ad, here's this thing, I want this amount of DMs, and I'm gonna have this amount of conversations, and I'm gonna book this amount of calls. You can buy you can buy it. It's literally like an abundance. It's like traffic. I think some guy made a really cool analogy. He basically said like think of traffic as like going to the grocery store. It's like there's just always grocery stores. Like you can just buy it. Like you can just buy it there. You can buy impressions, and if you have good content, you get rewarded by getting impressions from Facebook organically. And if you use a simple funnel, like I said, like, you know, making like a different funnel, if you want to check out that funnel that, like, you know, made my client 150k in like 90 days when he just had like 2.5 thousand followers, you can go check that out. If you use that funnel with some simple inputs, your problem can literally be fixed overnight. Like, I'm not even joking. Your lead problem can be fixed overnight. And yeah, like I said, if you want me to send that to you, oh, my microphone fell down. If you want me to just send that to you personally, maybe even make something personal for you, just DM me an IG and I'll just show you a free resource, just kind of like breaking down how I book the calls, like, you know, the DM stuff that we use, just like the specifics, because I don't want to really get into that in this video because it's not really about that. If you want those, just DM me on IG and I'll just show you. The links are down below essentially. But yeah, third one is offer messaging and content. This is going to be one of the biggest problems you're going to need to solve for your coaching business, because what I've realized is being able to convey your value in a market that is saturated, in a market that is competitive, in a market that has a ton of people doing similar things, in a market that is probably been sold to a bunch of times. It's going to be super hard, because what I've realized is these are always the hardest problems to solve. But the best part about this is that you only need to solve these problems once. And once you solve them once, obviously you just have to continuously iterate and improve on it, which is like the best part about these offers, because you spend a lot of time just kind of crafting it, making sure it resonates, getting to people, getting feedback. But then once you build that initial foundation, you're not really improving it every single week. Like maybe you make a tweak here and there, but you're not like changing the offer every week. You're not like changing the whole content strategy every week. A lot of it is just the same thing with just different nuances depending on what people resonate with more. So what I realized is these are always like the problems that just make me like think the most, essentially. If you don't know how building a funnel for businesses, especially coaching businesses, actually look like, it's something along the lines of this. So you always start with the market. So these are the people that you are selling to, and then the offer, what you're actually selling, the funnel, the way you're actually going to get these, how you're going to connect the market and your offer together. So what mechanism are you using? Are you using DMs? Are you using funnels? Are you using different things? And then your acquisition channel, so where you're actually getting the traffic from, your sales process, like how you actually converting these people into calls, how you exchanging value, how you're onboarding them, how you're delivering the service, and then how you're getting results, which basically iterates the feedback loops. And this goes back to the market, because when you get results, you go back to the market, you show the market, and the market then looks at your offer, and then they go through the whole spiral essentially. So that's kind of like the whole piece, and I kind of broke this down in I think in a different video, but like this, it's also in the high ticket protocol as well too. So like if you want this whole breakdown, it's also there. But yeah, like what I've realized is that the funnel for building this stuff is basically just like you literally just need to understand that offer messaging is like the most important thing. Because if you mess these two up, our market is obviously the most important thing, but most of the time people's market doesn't really influence them as much as they really think. They just have to understand how to communicate it. So I'll say offer is one of like the biggest things. Like if you don't have a really good market message and offer, and I know everyone talks about having the best message, having the best offer, but what does that actually mean? That basically means just speaking to people that are in your industry. If you go into my product over here, and if you go into like the actual market research side of things, I literally break down exactly how to do it, like the whole things, the whole shebang. It's in a doc as well too, that literally just breaks down exactly how to do this stuff. Because what I realized is everyone just talks about market message offer, and they make it so complex. They make it seem like you're doing rocket science, but in reality, all you're doing for market understanding, having a good offer, is you're just going to the market and you're just asking them, hey, what do you want to buy? Like, what are you struggling with right now? And you're just creating a message around it. I don't know why everyone tries to make it seem like it's just like demi thing. Like it's just like this like God, they have to like respect of like, oh, you need to have this amazing market message offer. And it's like, it's not that difficult. Just speak to human beings and you find it out. Because that's why the things that I've realized when I talk to people, and I'm not trying to make this about a protocol, but it just relates back to it when they were just telling me how straightforward and how easy it was to just follow what I was saying, because I was just breaking down what it actually is, not giving you the fluff, not giving you like, you know, the fun stuff, just breaking down what it actually is. And people respected me a lot for that, and they understood their stuff a lot better compared to when people make it super, super wishy-washy. So you're going to find out that if you actually do go through the High Ticket Protocol 200-week offer, you realize that it's building a coaching business or building some sort of business like this that supports your lifestyle, that brings in like, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50k liquid in your account for yourself. It's not that difficult if you understand the pieces and the components behind it. So the action step for this is just understand that having a good offer messaging is just speaking to people and asking them what their problems are. So if you can find a way to just speak to as many people that are in your market as possible, you will understand what they're struggling with. Like, it will be very difficult to not realize, because people love talking about their problems and their struggles. Let me rephrase that. People love talking about themselves, and if people talk about themselves, you're gonna find a way. So much else. You're gonna find a way to actually understand their problems and, you know, the issues that they're facing. So yeah, that's that side. And then the fourth part is sales process. So this is extremely important, guys. Everyone likes to pretend, or not even pretend. I feel like people just don't even know how good their sales process is, because they don't even have enough call volume to be able to correctly assess it. Because being good at sales is like being good at the part of like just being able to just extract money out of people's pockets, not in a rude way, not like stealing it, but like willingly get them to, you know, do that. It's something I've had to bite the bullet in terms of importance, because we had a client that we got him like a ton of calls. I would say probably like 50-ish calls, and he was basically saying, hey, none of these calls are actually qualified. He was like, no closes, and he was basically saying, hey, it's all on us. Like, these leads, they're horrible. That's why I was like, oh, shit, like, are they really that bad? And then I was like, damn, like, what's going on? And he was like, yeah, bro, like, you know, I've got the best sales coaches, you know, they tell me, and they were like, and he was like, yeah, I just don't think the leads are good. So I was like, cool, fair enough. And then eventually we obviously proved it, we got it. Like, Shopper was like 90% at one point, like still at one point, and still right now, and it still had that problem. And then I was like, hey, like, could you let me just review these calls right now? And I don't know why it didn't come to my mind at the time. Maybe this was like more like beginning stages. I was just kind of like scared, because I realized that he's paid all these people for coaching. So I was like, okay, these guys are probably better than me. Sales who might say anything. But I was like, hey, look at these calls. And then I also got my client Hassan, who's also really good at sales calls, to, you know, review it. And he was basically like, hey, this is really bad, like, and without saying it in a rude way. And then we realized that he had a sales problem, and once we fixed that sales problem, he literally closed like 10k in deals in like the next week, which is crazy when you think about it, because most people would think that, oh, a lot of the times it's the calls, it's the offers, but most people just don't even know if they're bad at sales or not, because they just don't have enough call volume to be able to assess it. So what I recommend people is they understand the actual system and how it actually works. There's loads of videos that kind of break down how it works. Everyone has different methods, but like the best people to go for this advice, I would say, is people like Jeremy Miner, you know, Cole Gordon. They just have the best like sales processes. They're just people, they literally like invented it in a sense. So it's like, you should use that. We also in the High Ticket Protocol, we have a sales process section that just breaks down that side of things, like successful, specifically coaching sales, so you can use that and like understand how that stuff works. But what I realized is that stuff is super important, and making people watch your sales assets is just not enough. Like, you need to actually know how to sell. Like, you need to know how to ask the right questions, what to say in the discovery, how to pitch, how to pre-handle objections. So many different things, guys. And if you're not booking that many calls, you might not think sales is your issue, but eventually it can become your issue, and then you're going to get super frustrated, and then you're going to keep blaming the leads. You're going to keep saying they're not qualified. All these leads say they need to think about it. No one is ready to go. But then when you realize that you're messing up, maybe your frame is bad, maybe you're not explaining how you can actually help them correctly, maybe you're not diving into their pain points more, maybe you're not creating enough urgency, maybe you're not pre-qualifying better enough, you're not going to see these problems now, but eventually when you solve your sales problem, it's going to come through, and then you're going to be like, oh damn, like it was just the sales stuff all along. So especially if you understand the high ticket, you need to understand this, especially high ticket, especially when you're selling stuff. It's like B2B and B2C. I would say B2C is like, it gets a little bit harder because you're speaking to people that are not really like more logical, they're more of like the emotional side of things. But like if you're selling like super 3k 4k packages, B2C people, or like you're selling like 8K, 10K packages to B2B, you need to be good at sales. Like, it's no, you can't sugarcoat it. I'm sorry, guys. You might not like it, but you have to be good at it. And an action step to be good at it is just like analyze where you're at in terms of skill level. Get someone that's a little bit better than you to just kind of like review it and just give you their own thoughts, or just like look at it, or like if you know someone is super good, just pay someone, or like if you want to just validate your process and just join the protocol, guys. It's literally like, you can come in and make your ROI next day, because they make it so easy to get in. And I'll be able to look at these calls and be like, hey, you're doing this wrong, and then you can fix it, and then boom, your sales process is good. So that's kind of like that part. And then the fifth one, which is more of like a bonus one, is like creating like a community that basically respects you. And the way that you do this, and this kind of like avoids a bunch of refunds and a lot of people complaining, is number one, having the good product. That's the first thing. And then also creating some sort of like community, like membership that kind of like revolves around you in a sense. So what I mean by that is, they come in, you set the expectations from day one. You understand what you've done came from hard work. You understand what your case studies have done came from hard work, and you instill the belief that they have to work to get the results that they want to give to you. Unless you're doing like done for you stuff, you really need to do this. But like, you need to instill that belief, because people are going to come in and they're going to think that, oh, I'm going to get everything on a platter. They're going to just give everything to me. Like, it's just easy. But in reality, it's not like just like that, essentially. Like, they have to work for it. So what I did is, if you want to like replicate this, that made a cold like audience for one of my clients, like Hassan, was that he just made a mindset module, just breaking down the things and the beliefs that people have that's stopping them from scaling. And then what ends up happening is that people go through that and they're like, oh shit, like being able to be in this position is an honor on its own, and being able to learn from this person is an honor on its own. And there's so many people that work super hard, it's an honor on its own as well. I can't expect to make, let's say, because he was teaching people sales, coaching how to become sales rep, I can't expect to make 10K my first month. That's impossible. But before, that was the expectation, because he wasn't telling them that that's not possible. And then once he started telling them and started instilling that belief, everyone works harder. No one feels like they need to be better. No one does that. And obviously you need to have a good product, good case studies and whatnot to be able to command that in the first place. But now refund rate is basically like negligible, essentially. But like before, when it wasn't like half that, he would get like some people refunding and being like, hey, I didn't get 10K in like the first month, essentially. And because he didn't set the expectation, he wasn't really able to do anything. Now it doesn't really happen. So I urge you guys, if you have the leverage, you should do that as well too, because it's just going to increase your client experience, and you're going to enjoy actually working with your clients a lot more. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I have a couple more lessons, but I don't want to like ram you guys with like lessons and all the things I've learned. If you want to join the high ticket protocol, just DM me on IG, just say I'm in that, and I can actually add you. These are stuff that we cover like in depth, like if you thought this was value, like why go over there? It's like, it's nuts. I thought you just go into like depth on like the product itself, depth into like how to get the traffic in the first place, how to solve the offer problem as well, very simply as well. It's not going to be like 5-hour modules breaking down stuff. It's like very bite-sized stuff that you can use, actionable, just kind of like this video, and use that to get results straight away, essentially. So if you're interested in joining that, link is in description. My IG is there. Just message me, I'm in, and I'll get you sorted. And if not, I hope you're having a lovely rest of your day. Look, I hope you're eating well, you've drank some water, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.